Hello folks and welcome. The topic for today will be Ramadan. Let's have a few words about this Muslim holiday. It is celebrated for 30 days, and since the Muslim calendar is a lunar one, every year it will be 11 days earlier than the previous one. It will complete a full cycle around the solar calendar every 33 years or so. The main commandment that Muslims are obliged to keep is the fasting from dawn to sunset. It is their belief that during the month of Ramadan the Quran was given to Muhammad. And there are many customs and many traditions that Muslims are keeping if you are a practicing Muslim, and that affects daily life as well, here in Israel as well. Keep in mind that from the population of 10 million people, which makes our population, about 1.5 million will be indeed Muslims, so that affects daily life in Israel as well. Recently, for the last few decades, Ramadan has an additional layer to that, which is more political, and the tension is mounting every year. Here in the state of Israel, Ramadan is always a time of the year that the police is on high alert, because statistically the Muslim sentiments, which are all religious but also national, are getting higher than usual. Statistically speaking, most of the potential for committing acts of terror increases in Ramadan in many percents than any other time of the year. And keep in mind, Islam does not need an excuse to harm Israelis. It's built in the system, but during the month of Ramadan, things are getting a little worse here in Israel as well. The focal point of the celebrations in the country will be the Temple Mount. And whenever people come to the Temple Mount, you do know that you need to be expecting any kind of unrest and riots and problems, especially on Fridays. And for that reason, the Israeli government and then the Israeli police tries to conduct and tries to control what happens on top of Temple Mount. Israeli Arab Muslims are most and welcome to come and practice if they only keep the law and keep the rules. Israel also makes the exception, and we open the gates to Palestinians coming from the territories, even from the Gaza Strip, every now and then, to come and celebrate on Ramadan. But we are watching very closely and very carefully what's going on, because in most cases, Fridays during Ramadan will end up with riots, will end up with bloodshed every now and then. It's always the peak of the holiday, and Fridays in Ramadan, especially around Temple Mount, are times of tension. And for that reason, the Israeli government, especially this year in light of the war in Gaza, very careful who to allow in. It can be based on age limit. They can say, for example, Arab Israelis are welcome to come, but for Palestinians, they have to be 50 years and older, or they try to embrace all kind of logical measures to try to control who comes to Temple Mount, and to make sure that you come to pray and you don't come to instigate each other, and you don't come to commit any acts of terror. In the Arab countries around us, it's also quite interesting, because Ramadan is a religious celebration basically, although Islam is more than just a religion, it's a whole worldview, and that encompasses every aspect of life. So for the last 2 or 3 decades in the Arab television, interesting, they produce a lot of movies and a lot of series, especially for Ramadan, and guess what? All of them are mocking Israel, all of them are anti-Semitic, and all of them will be so anti-Israeli that we have good reasons to be concerned when Ramadan is coming. So some people celebrate the holidays in a decent way, like you and I will, but some people celebrate the holidays and the ultimate goal is to try to increase the tension and to take as many Jewish lives as possible, especially when it comes to Jerusalem and comes to Temple Mount. So here's we have kind of a daily routine of a family in Egypt or Syria, Lebanon or Jordan. You take your morning breakfast, and then you fast for the rest of the day. And at the sunset, you go to have a good meal, and then the whole family sits, turns on the TV, and just enjoys a movie, which is always anti-Israeli. That's how you educate the next generation. You do understand that's not the way to get the people closer or to try to even think about peace, and that's part of the education. But that's what Ramadan is in Israel. Around the world, it's of course different, but here in Israel, the tension is always mounting, especially this year, in light of the war in Gaza. And until next time, may the God of Israel richly bless you all.